International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the economic, cultural, political, and social achievements of women across the globe. The day also marks a call to action for accelerating women gender equality in Cameroon. Women still face enormous challenges from rape, violence, discrimination, high maternal mortality, family conflicts, torture, just to name these a few. But we are not forgetting women in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon. We are constantly trapped by stray bullets. In this special edition dedicated to women across Cameroon, will provide you with in-depth analysis on daily challenges of women and how it affects their growth. Stay tuned to the program. It's a pleasure to always know you are watching this special edition on Canal the International. I'm here with a great women who are here to share their experiences and stories on the International Women's Day and equally provide you with in-depth analysis. We probably will end here by understanding this year's theme and other challenges faced by women. I would like to start with those who are very close to me. Queen, can I start with you?
Good afternoon, everybody.
You are of your association is called
Cameroon.
Yes. Now, what has your association been doing to impact women during this period in time?
First of all, I have to thank everybody who is here and thank all telespectators of Canal the International. Cameroon is an association who think about peace, who think about evolution of women. And talking about International Women's Day, we are planning to impact women by holding debate concerning the gender in COVID and how to build a leader. So how to be a leader is first of all to accept ourselves, to influence people who are around you. That is what Cameroon is prepared to train women and call them to be able to accept themselves and to push their manner to impact on other people. All
right, now I want to just tell our viewers that you're French speaking.
Yeah.
So you feel free to speak in French as well, okay?
Okay.
All right, we equally have Madame Juma Cecilia. She is a social worker. How are you doing?
Good.
Now, I want to ask that a lot of women knock at your door daily to talk about the problems. Has the statistic of the women coming to the social centers to talk about the problems, or the delegation of women empowerment, has it gone up? Or because we have the statistics that women still shy away from coming to you for aid?
Yeah, thank you very much for this opportunity. And I want to say Happy Women's Day to all the female folk out there. I believe as years go by, the women are more informed. And the fact that they are informed, they are also empowered. So, and they believe that if they are informed, they will have a solution to their problems. The statistics that you're talking about has increased because through social media and other means of information and communication, many women are not left
because
behind.
Before women did not know that they could have solutions, you get solutions from the problems, if they come to you.
Of course, and the fact that we have phones.
Okay.
Yeah. Family members, they do flip and flap information that has given them the opportunity to know about social welfare and women's empowerment and what they can benefit from.
All right, we equally have Barrister Isabel Formukong, Barrister at Law in Cameroon. How are you doing today?
Fine.
All right, now I want to ask about the fabric. Now, do you have the fabric already? How set are you, even if you're not matching? How set are you?
Well, I'm not actually
10,000 francs a week.
I'm not actually the fabric kind of woman, so I don't even put it on.
So to you, the day does not center around any fabric?
No, it's not a day of fabric, neither is it of celebration.
No,
I've never had it in my life.
So it's not a fabric day for you?
No, it's not a fabric day.
So now, how important is the day to you? How do you, what do you do to impact others on a day like this during the week? For
a day like 6th of March, I'm sorry to inform the women, to educate the women about their rights.
All right.
That's all.
Like also belong to an association of jurists or lawyers who constantly impact women. Now on days like this or weeks like this, what do you do?
I think the Cameroon Bar Association is doing something of that nature.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, equally have Dr. Vivian Tabot. She is a pediatrician. She is she's into everything. I call her Dr. Too Good inside out. She's right here with us here in the studio. Now, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Maureen.
Now, I'm so tempted to ask you about moral decadence in schools. Sure, you've seen videos of young girls in schools where you see them naked in those videos. Now, what's your take on that as a mother?
Oh my goodness. What a question. Thank you so much, televiewers. Thank you, Maureen, for this opportunity. As you rightly said, I'm more known now as Dr. Feel Good Inside Out. And I think that's the capacity on which I'm sitting right here, because Feel Good Inside Out, I say, is bringing out the best version of you. And this best version starts from very little age. So concerning these young girls, it's so painful as a mother. I'm a mother of so many. In fact, I can't even count my children. There are really many. And one thing that I try to let them know is that this body of us, what we carry like this, is so special. It's not a body to be exposed. As a young girl, there's so much you can achieve in life, Maureen.
It's a growing practice in schools.
Yes, and why? Because of social media. I think my other panelists can accept that the social media is causing more harm than good. These little girls, I don't know whether they are being told that if you're not exposed to this type of life at an early age, your adulthood is blurred. I want to tell them that no, you have to preserve yourself. Don't look at all these things. Don't follow all this in your future, because whatever I want to do now, I can still do.
Of course.
Right? I've achieved a certain level in life that I don't need somebody to support me for anything they say.
But at the same time, mothers, don't you think that it's a problem with mothers raising up their children, especially the girl child? Maybe very briefly on that.
It is, and everything starts at home. And that's where leadership comes in, because a mother is a leader from your home. We cannot talk about national leadership if we don't start from the house, your own house. A woman, I had a program on Saturday, are you proud to be a woman? It was live on Facebook on Dr. Feel Good Inside Out. And I was like, women, we need to know that we are born leaders. A woman is a minister of everything. We are minister of interior, we are minister of finance, we are minister of health, we are minister of, because everything is around us. Yes, around us. So if you're a child, if you see any girl misbehaving out there, I will not blame the dad or blame the mother.
All right. Now, for the first time in Cameroon, we are not having a traditional march part that is linked to the international, which is the major activity. Let me put it that way. So, international celebrations marking the International Women's Day. Now, how do you feel about that?
Oh my goodness.
Because last year at least we had it, and COVID came after. This time, there is no march past. And then does it give you another idea of how women could probably impact themselves?
Of course, I think it's a lesson to the society, our society, Africa in general, because we know that if we don't go out marching, we've not celebrated Women's Day. And if you look at what is going on now, because there's no march past, the celebration is low key. But then it's going to give us another idea, another way of looking at this day. We are not supposed to go out and open our cabas as we do, or buy those cabas, but we should impact ourselves. It's a period of empowerment, because if you compare it to what is going on out there, it's different. They either look for a specific, because there was one period or one celebration I've just gone, the women decided to work on a specific thing that has to do with women, to reduce the price of their
underwear.
No, not underwear. Napkin.
Yeah,
Panty lining.
Okay,
not panty liners, and their pad.
Pad.
Yeah, sanitary towels.
So sanitary towel. Thank you. And they took that as a duty that this year we will make sure the cost of, because every woman uses sanitary pads, so we will make sure the cost of that pad is reduced. And that's the way they celebrate it, after having conferences to empower women and to enlighten them on how to.
But now the question is, do you think that the conferences or the messages, do they really go through, Barrister?
Moi, je pense que je peux dire quelque chose. Ok. Parlant du leadership, il faut déjà qu'on explique ce que c'est que le leadership. faut que les femmes comprennent ce que c'est que le leadership.
Je ne suis même pas encore venue même sur le leadership. I was trying to ask about the March Past. I was talking about empowerment.
Okay.
Now that I don't have a March Past, even do you think that the messages or the conferences that the whole year and there, do you think the messages sink down to the grassroots women?
Moi, je pense que, comme d'habitude, les femmes savent plutôt aller marcher. C'est un problème cette année parce qu'il n'y a pas la possibilité de faire la marche pour le 8 mars. Alors, ce qui veut dire que nous, en tant que leaders, nous devons faire en sorte que les femmes qui sont dans les zones rurales puissent savoir utiliser les téléphones. Parce que nous sommes en temps moderne. Maintenant qu'il n'y a pas cette histoire de marche, comment est-ce que ces femmes qui sont en zone rurale peuvent donc... C'est-à-dire, comment est-ce qu'elles vont donc faire pour qu'elles soient en phase avec les autres femmes qui sont dans la ville, qui ont la possibilité d'utiliser les téléphones? Moi, je pense que le moment est venu pour que même la femme rurale, qu'elle soit à mesure d'utiliser le téléphone et de faire peut-être des vidéos, se partager des vidéos ou bien faire des conférences autour des vidéos qui peuvent les permettre en sorte que ce jour soit un jour inoubliable pour eux. Que ça soit un moment pour eux de connaître, utiliser l'outil informatique. Je pense que c'est ce que les femmes rurales doivent maintenant apprendre à faire. Parce que le tout, ce n'est pas de faire les matchs, mais il faut aussi penser à se former et à savoir que non, il peut y arriver un jour que cette maladie qu'on appelle la Covid nous empêche de sortir. Et si nous arrivons donc pas à sortir, comment allons donc nous faire pour pouvoir être utiles, ou bien pour vendre nos tomates, ou bien pour vendre nos piments dans les villages? Donc je pense que en collaboration avec le ministère de la condition féminine, on doit tout faire pour empower les femmes qui sont dans les zones rurales pour qu'elles puissent savoir comment utiliser l'outil informatique. Parce que cette année, le 8 mars, doit être une année où les femmes doivent prendre conscience de l'utilité des ITC au Cameroun.
Okay. All right, now let the discussion. All right, you want to add something, Barrister?
The question you asked. How do we know that the formal seminars have actually bear fruits? It's follow up. I'm sure somewhere along the line there is this bridge. After all the talks for the last year, Women's Day theme, nobody goes back to see what happened. A new theme comes up, and that's how we've been celebrating.
So
the
there's lack of follow up.
There's a lack of follow up.
Yes,
I believe that, yeah, it's true there might be some lapse or laxity in that domain, but I want to tell our televiewers that the women empowerment and the family is working hand in glove with the rural woman. Okay. So they are not left out. Since they know the lapses, they are doing everything to bring them closer.
Every day they talk about these same lapses. I think we'll come back to that. But I want us to watch first of all this report on the historic of the International Women's Day. It's a report done by Dominic Mememwakimo. Let's watch. We'll be right back.
From March 8, 1917, when the first Women's Day was officially celebrated in Russia, International Women's Day has over the years gained recognition worldwide, with some countries observing it as a public holiday. Before 1917, women in New York, USA, have in 1908 launched protests against working conditions that were particularly harsh on female workers. In the African continent, Egyptian Society of Physicians joined the queue in 1920 by denouncing negative effects of female genital mutilation. Years and decades of celebration of International Women's Day have come and gone in several countries in the world, aimed at creating awareness, sensitizing and advocating that policymakers rectify some habit considered terrible gender imbalance actions that places a woman in a disadvantaged position in the society. The celebration of Women's Day over the years in Cameroon and other countries has changed the narratives to an extent on how a woman is today recognized in the society. This is particularly in the domain of creating awareness of rights of women and the indispensable role they play from a small family circle to a larger community. In Cameroon, for example, awareness on the rights of women today have bear palpable fruits of increased representation of women in decision-making circles, that is, the executive, judiciary, legislative, the media, and other key areas of life. Besides this, Over time, some demonic practices on women in some communities have stopped, with women more free to make choices in life. Despite all this, women's rights activists still think a lot needs to be done. Though more and more women are elected into legislative houses in Cameroon, for example, the role they play in making laws still remain far insignificant. This has pushed some pundits to think women in such houses are merely for gender coloration and not real business. As International Women's Day gradually shifts from just wearing and parading with Women's Day fabric to real discussions on how to solve societal, economic, cultural and political issues, women in Cameroon, for example, are yet to speak with a voice to stop bloodshed in several parts of Cameroon, most often attributed to poor governance. 2021 International Women's Day is in the context of coronavirus pandemic, with public celebrations forbidden and thus deep reflections on how to improve Cameroon should undoubtedly take center stage.
Thank you so much, Dominic Meme. Welcome back. We are back here in the studio. Now, yes, you touched so many pertinent things in that report. But now I want to ask, we've been celebrating year in, year out the International Women's Day. Now, what are the achievements? Barrister?
I'll tell you there's one achievement. The first one might be negative to some people, but a positive one. The fabric actually you have a huge amount of money that comes in from the fabric. Two, it has helped to split so many marriages. Those are the achievements in Cameroon. Because if you look at year in, year out,
negative achievement.
That's the negative part of it.
Okay.
Now, the positive part of it, which we are waiting for the government to say something. I'm looking for the government to say, 20 years after, this is the family code.
Okay.
That is out.
It's still a problem.
It's still a priority today.
Okay.
We don't even know when it will come out. For 20 years or more, it's still in the drawer. We're waiting to know when the first female will be appointed as a prime minister. Position of leadership. We're waiting to know the day a communal woman will be the Minister of Finance. There are some strategic positions that we want women to actually strive to that area. They've said women are good managers. They've tried and they've noticed that they can do it. Why not appoint them? I think if you look at the other fields, we are coming up gradually, but very strong. But still, we have to work harder again, because there is a gap between the mothers and the daughters. That gap needs to be filled. We have to actually mold our daughters, tell them actually what is at stake, because some of them don't take it serious. They feel they just need to relax. But we are actually in a fight that we have to win. And we have to put all our might that our daughters stand in and go in for it and make it, because we'll be very happy one day.
No, but we have, when we look at the parliament, they have at least a representation of women in parliament. It's not sufficient. Women still want more. But do you think even those who represent women, they really advocate for women?
I don't think so. I don't think so, Maureen. They may be doing their best, but their best may not be good enough. That's it. They may be doing their best. So I'm not with them. I've never been to parliament. But what Barrister just said is very pertinent. You know, the gap between the daughter and the mother, we need to fill it. And it's us women, we need to fill that gap. And how do we fill that gap? Is try building self-confidence into that little girl from the very young age. You know what, baby, you are very beautiful, you are a very intelligent girl, oh, you are so smart, do you know one day you can be the president of this country? You know, even if she fails an exam, don't worry about this, it's just for now. Work harder, you're going to make it. We put those positive affirmations into her. Believe me, by the time she gets to a certain age, she'll start looking at life very differently. And that's something we have to do now. If not, the oncoming generation, they'll still find themselves at this level where we are saying that, oh, we're still fighting for our rights, we want to be this, we want to get there. No, we start building them from that age. And before we know it, in the next 20 years, for sure, Barrister will be prime minister, female prime minister in this country.
You don't sound really positive. Let me just which means that you want to add something. I want to ask you, quand tu vois la célébration, what évaluation tu make? Aujourd'hui on célèbre, demain on célèbre, ça fait les années, les centaines des années. Qu'est-ce qui a changé?
Concernant la journée internationale de la femme, le contexte même d'abord, il est positif, mais la manière avec laquelle il est implémenté, c'est ça qui fait le problème au Cameroun. Parce que nous avons pris la journée internationale de la femme comme une journée de festivité. Mais normalement, ce n'est pas une journée de festivité, c'est une journée de réflexion par rapport à la gente féminine. La gente féminine, moi je prends toujours le contexte de mon pays, le Cameroun, que j'aime bien. Elle l'assiste. Les femmes camerounaises ne
Il y a un ministère pour ça.
Les femmes camerounaises ne s'intéressent pas à la question de l'État. Les femmes camerounaises ne s'intéressent pas aux problèmes politiques. Alors, comment est-ce qu'elles peuvent espérer devenir ministre ou bien devenir... Parce qu'elles ne s'approprient même pas de la chose, de la question politique ou de la question du social au Cameroun. La plupart des femmes camerounaises, elles se contentent d'aller au travail, après revenir, aller se coucher derrière les lits de leur mari. Je dis et j'ai toujours dit que le leadership, c'est quelque chose qui est inné en nous les femmes. Nous sommes leaders de par notre constitution, nous sommes les ministères du foyer, nous sommes ceci, cela, nous sommes celles qui encadrons les enfants et nous sommes le socle de la famille. Alors il est inadmissible que dans un pays comme le Cameroun, qu'aujourd'hui, que la femme ne soit pas portée, par exemple, au poste de Premier ministre, au poste de ministère des Finances. La question est...
À qui la faute?
La faute est d'abord le gouvernement. Parce que si le gouvernement pouvait rehausser la femme à un certain niveau. Alors cela
parce qu'il y a les femmes qui sont capables de faire
cela donnerait la confiance à celles qui sont en bas de s'intéresser, de voir, mais tiens, cette dame Marie est peut-être Premier ministre. Pourquoi? Ça devait booster les autres femmes qui sont en bas. Ça devait les galvaniser de plus en plus. Alors je pense que le problème c'est au niveau de notre gouvernement qui n'arrive pas à accepter que la femme peut occuper un poste important. Je pense que c'est ça le véritable problème au Cameroun. Et nous-mêmes les femmes, nous devons aussi être capables d'influencer le gouvernement afin qu'il pense à nous. Nous ne faisons pas des efforts. Et même celles-mêmes qui font les efforts, le gouvernement n'a pas leur temps. Nous voyons par exemple, il y a eu le poste de président de région, il y a eu qu'une femme qui est président de région. Il n'y a eu aucune femme. Pensez-vous qu'il n'y a pas de femmes ici au Cameroun qui pouvaient aussi porter à la tête des régions? Il y en a, mais pourquoi parce qu'elles ne sont pas vues, elles ne sont pas valorisées et elles ne sont pas mises en exergue par les médias. Les médias s'occupent beaucoup plus des hommes en les vendant et en oubliant que les femmes aussi peuvent être vendues pour qu'elles puissent influencer ceux qui sont autour d'elles.
Let me just say something. Yes, I believe the Cameroonian woman actually is a politician. She wants to get there.
And what is blocking her from getting there?
The means, the finances, she doesn't have it. Like the men. You have the men, people have to sponsor them. They have financiers, white women don't have. If they have, they'll do it.
Why can't other women?
Okay, il y a l'entrepreneuriat féminin. Pourquoi les femmes ne sont pas entrepreneurs pour chercher les moyens?
Let me tell you something. If a man is going on for a position, the men might decide to sponsor that man to get there. But for the woman, it's difficult for the women to sponsor. Unless there's another man that will sponsor, the woman will get there. Yeah, right. That's just one. Number two, if you look at the other part of the story, you talked about
la confiance.
The confidence.
The confidence in a woman, the government knows. Look at the bank managers today. They're all women. It means they can handle finances. Look at the director generals in some of these companies. They are women. They can handle those positions. But what stops them taking a woman to that appointment position when they're taking regional councillors? Why can't they appoint a woman? We don't know women on that list. Why?
I think
vous avez posé la question de savoir pourquoi est-ce qu'une femme ne peut pas occuper un poste de ministre des Finances. La femme peut occuper un poste de ministre des Finances. Est-ce qu'on va aller chercher une femme dans une entreprise? Il y a ce qu'on appelle le clan politique. Alors quand une femme n'est pas active politiquement, pensez-vous qu'on peut lui propulser à un poste de ministre? Parce que les statistiques sont là. Les femmes ne s'intéressent pas à la politique au Cameroun. Elles s'intéressent à rester au bureau et puis rentrer. Elles ne s'intéressent pas à la question sociale. Elles ne s'intéressent pas aux choses de l'État. Il y a ce problème qui se pose. Je pense que nous devons plutôt demander aux femmes de s'intéresser à la question politique et de s'engager en ce qui concerne la politique au Cameroun. Cela a été dit par le président de la République, que les femmes doivent s'investir en politique.
Let me just ask you a question. The former Minister of Finance came from which government office?
L'ancien ministre des Finances,
Yes.
il est dans un clan politique.
How?
Il est dans un clan politique.
What makes him in
À la
clan?
Minamé,
Yes.
à la Minamé, ses parents sont
Okay.
les membres du RDPC. Donc c'est un enfant du RDPC.
Okay. You said you got it all right.
Yeah, no, I just wanted because you know they're saying that a woman need to sponsor this or sponsor that. What I want to say, may I so rest in peace, Anne Sign. She said something years back. I was still a young girl, and she said the problem of a woman is a woman, and I still hold tight to that because are we women promoting other women? That's the question. Because I don't know if the men have decided to do a divide and rule game amongst women. If you say, okay, Maureen is doing this program, this is a wonderful program, do I go out there and tell people that, you know what, there's this journalist Maureen who can do? No, we don't promote ourselves. So it's like a woman doesn't want to see another woman up there. I don't know what I say.
The problem is from the woman.
It's from us. It's from, let's be honest enough, the problem is from us. It's from us. And if we have women, as she said, you get interested in politics if you are being directed, oriented to that line. You know, I remember for one, I told myself I will never be in politics because my father told me once, I was very young, because my mother was so active in politics.
If somebody reiterated
my mother was a real politician, you know, if I would have followed her footsteps. But one day my father sat me down. We used to see, you know, there's this CNU something, Mama will carry all the pots and trays in the house, she's running, and my father was like, Vivian, you know what, if you want to live long, I was 16. My dad sat me down and said, if you want to live long on earth, my daughter, don't join politics. Politics is good, but politicians are dirty. It's a dirty game. And from that day, I just held on that word. I'm moving without. No, they made it dirty because of the lies in it. Politics is very good.
We are in television. Why you are saying
we are not here for
such
politics. We are not here for politics.
Yeah, we are not in politics.
We are here for women.
I'm just trying to say
Let's come back
that.
to subject.
Yes,
We are
I'm just trying to say that women.
young women,
That
not
women,
up there.
we need to learn to promote ourselves.
Okay.
That even in the
politics,
not just
we
politics,
should.
every other branch, we need to promote ourselves, and that's the way we'll get up there. You know, sponsorship or no sponsorship.
You want to react on that?
Actually, it's really, I'm moved. I like what is going on. Yeah, actually, women they shy away from
Politics.
getting involved
in
being
politics.
leaders, but they don't know that they are born to lead. They are the society in which we are. They stifle that idea from childhood that you cannot be a head. You cannot lead. So the men is their tradition. They know that they are the ones to lead. So how come a woman will just prop up and start wanting to trample on others? But the long and short is we copy. We get inspired when we see one person comes up. If I should make reference to Obama, the black community in America started going to school when they saw Obama as the first black president. So I believe that we should copy. We as women should copy. It's not what we have that makes us leaders. There are some who are motivated and they stand up, and the others they support. As is rightly said, we need to support ourselves, but we need that dignity, the self-esteem. You don't need to have much money to stand as a leader. But then the fact that we don't love ourselves, women should love us. When you gather, you have
each other. Don't
if you don't love, you cannot even support.
Don't have confidence in what you do.
And just that fact that we don't have that support, we cannot push one of our sisters go. We will say that they are jealous. Others are jealous, and of course, because of jealousy,
let me just add something.
Barrister does not seem to agree.
No, I agree totally with them. But I would say before any list could go through, there must be a female on that list. That was the law.
Yes.
So, meaning that any list that actually won had a female there. And
if they wanted to just please the women by putting the name on the list but not pushing them ahead.
So if they wanted to appoint somebody, they could have still appointed a woman.
All right, I want us to watch this interview. It was done to us by our reporters in Yaoundé. She's called Yvonne Mumabi. She's a gender activist. She talks on leadership. Let's watch. We'll be right back.
For the first time after more than 20 years, I thought I'll stitch the fabric and wear on me. You know why? Because it carries messages of peace. It speaks about women, and my recent fight is about the absence of women on the peace table. Women are disproportionately represented everywhere, and in order to bridge that gap, we need to come up even with cohesive messages. Let women unite. We have the numerical strength. We have the numerical strength to influence policies in Cameroon. Why are we lagging behind? Let us use that to tell the powers that be that we want our place on the table. We want our place in all the instances of decision making. Symbolically, the first fabric was printed in the year 2000. And when we were entering a new millennium, and I thought that was an idea to identify Cameroonian women like people who could come together and work together. But even when that one was produced, the intention was that women have a common fabric to wear during that day, and they could go on for years with the same. But it became business. Every year a new design came into the market, distorting the idea behind having a common uniform. That was, to me, a form of solidarity, telling women if they could pull themselves together, they could do things. That was my idea about the fabric, but today that no longer obtains. Another distortion. Women are marching past to send what message? A day to commemorate. That day is supposed to be full of symbolism and significance to women. Women are supposed to talk about their plight. Even they are supposed to express themselves like part of a nation about what is going on in the nation. Do they necessarily need to go and parade at the boulevard or the places where festivities take place to show that they are commemorating that day? I think the COVID-19 pandemic has come even to help. I encourage Cameroonian women to get into conference halls, hold debates, and make sure around the theme they enrich themselves and the well-being of the Cameroonian woman who cannot find herself around a table.
Achieving an equal future in a COVID-19 world. Now, I want us to define leadership. Leadership. Queen. And we'll talk of leadership because there are lots of women who don't still understand what leadership is all about.
Une définition simple, le leadership, c'est une façon d'influencer, de s'accepter, de tirer d'autres personnes vers une idée porteuse. Alors, pour être leader, il faut déjà avoir une vision. Lorsque vous n'avez pas une vision, vous ne pouvez pas être leader, vous ne pouvez pas être un suiveur. Alors, moi, je pense que le leadership peut aussi s'apprendre à partir de votre environnement, à partir des associations et à partir des formations, parce qu'il y a des formations qui parlent de leadership. Et comment devenir un leader? Il y a par exemple 5 piliers pour devenir un leader. Je vous ai dit, le premier pilier, c'est l'influence. Apprendre à influencer ceux qui sont autour de vous. Le deuxième pilier, c'est l'acceptance de soi-même. Il faut s'accepter. Le troisième pilier, c'est la confiance. Il faut vous faire confiance vous-même. Et le cinquième pilier, c'est votre vision. Où est-ce que je veux arriver? Mon idée, c'est quoi? Je veux vendre la tomate. Et pour vendre la tomate, je prends un exemple. Qu'est-ce qu'il me faut pour que je vende par jour, peut-être 5 millions par jour? Je me pose des bases et je m'assois sur cette idée en commençant à mettre un projet en place que je vais, par exemple, partager avec d'autres personnes qui peuvent s'entourer avec moi pour que cette idée soit porteuse et qu'elle draine d'autres foules. Donc je pense que pour moi, c'est ça le leadership.
All right, now, Cecilia, now when we look at the team, we'll talk about leadership. Now, when you look around you, look at society, do you see that Cameroonian woman? Do you see them at that leadership position? When you look around, when you look at your environment?
Yeah, there's this saying that a woman is born to lead. People may contest it, but I believe it's true, because they say when you give a woman is like an incubator. Whatever you give her, that's what she produces. You give her an egg, she'll produce an omelette. You give her a house, she'll give you a home. So whatever you give to the Cameroonian woman, that's what they will produce. Actually, there are some who are ambitious and they love to be leaders, but there are a lot of constraints, many things that are pulling them back.
What are the constraints?
Economically, they are not empowered. They don't have the means to boost them. Secondly, the idea, the fact that truly some of the women, even they don't have self-esteem. They are not highly educated, they don't have their self-esteem, because if you are highly educated, you push forward whether you have money or not. But the first, we need to think of their empowerment, economically, legally too, and even psychologically. All that they play a lot in raising up a woman to become a leader. It's not lost for all what is going on. There are ambitious women out there. We just need to help them by empowering them for them to come out. They say there are some women who have potentials in them, but some don't know how to come out. But if you help them, they will come out. There are some women who are introverts. They just need somebody like Isabel by their side, and you will see the real them.
Now, don't you think that? Okay, don't you think that the problem is that women don't believe in themselves?
That's it.
They don't know that they can do it.
Yes.
Don't you think, Barrister? Before even come to empowering them, because we must start by believing.
A bit.
Okay.
I believe our culture has actually killed us.
Yes,
the culture. The woman might be so ambitious, she might have confidence, but the culture is there. Take for instance, in my village, the palace is like nobody goes there. When they're holding a meeting, they're only men. So from the palace, they have made you to understand that a woman is not supposed to sit there. So we have that as a problem. Then secondly,
it's changing, right?
Well, in my village has not changed.
Some have changed. Some cultures have changed.
No, I said the whole of Meta, it has not changed. Even the traditional dance in Chibi, a woman will not dance it in Meta.
All right.
Yes. And then they also have marriage. Most men do not like to see a woman that is actually shining, trying to speak out. They will not like such women. And to be a leader, you need time for a woman. And your husband is there, the other side, taking away this time. Where have you been? All this problem, before you know it, it's a broken home. In order not to break your marriage, be submissive to your husband, and then you will not be a leader.
All right, Doctor.
She differs with you for belief, but I think that is the main problem. You know, the women, they don't really believe in themselves. You know, when the Obama came out with this slogan, "Yes, I can," that slogan influenced a lot of people. And I think all we have to do is to keep pushing that slogan. Yes, we can. Yes, I can. As a woman, I can do this. Very true what Barrister is saying. You know, as a leader, you need time. You need time, right? But when you have that leadership,
time.
That's what I was saying. Create time. It's not that 8 p.m. you must be in bed by 8 p.m.
The time is
leaders,
not given to you.
Leaders, you don't have a time to sleep. You can sleep at 2 p.m., 2 a.m., 1 a.m. It depends on what you have that you have to do for that day. So I believe if at the villages, as she says, that's very true. Some villages still hold too much to their cultural beliefs. But we who are in cities, in quotes, we have so much to do. Is that trying to change a mindset? Everything starts about changing the mindset. If we change the mindset of women to let them know that yes, they can, truly they can. I am a doctor by profession. She knows that very well. But I'm more into this, you know, belief type of leadership and inspirational speech, just to bring women to let them know that we can do it. It's not because I am a doctor that I have to stay only in the hospital, close wall, and there are other things I can do that I can do to impact the society positively. And we are so many who can do that. In fact, all women can do that. You know, if we empower them, they can do that. And the men also, our African men or Cameroonian men, those who think, I'm talking to them now on Canal International, those who think the woman is not fit to do anything or the woman cannot achieve this, that's a mistake. If you have this wife who has this dream, don't kill somebody's dream. You went and got married to somebody's daughter. You didn't bring that girl to this world. So leave her, you know, push her dreams until where you don't even know tomorrow that will be the person who can even save your family. You know, there are so many girls that have dreams. What do we do to help them get to those dreams?
That's a question. What do we do?
Marie said is to make them understand first thing that they can
achieve
do it.
Their dreams.
They can do it because they see you have done it also. I like to talk to people using my story. I use my story to inspire young girls. You know, as a doctor, it got to a time I sold second-hand clothes. I was still doctor already. I went to Cotonou. I could do everything just to be able to raise money to meet up because there's something I really wanted to do. So we have some other women on the other hand. It's true that a lot of them may be suffering from inferiority complex, but there are some who are suffering from superiority complex. And I say, just take off your superiority coat and tell yourself, this is my dream. This is what I need to achieve. It doesn't matter what it entails for me to get there. Even I have to go barefooted and get to that point. You do it because most people see the glory. They don't see where you're coming from. All of us sitting on this panel, we've gone through a lot. If you want to ask each and every person, we all have stories too. Let's use those stories to impact this new generation and let them know they can do it also. Yes, they can. Yes, we can.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Queen. Now, what do you tell women out there? That maybe your husband have told them that you cannot do it. You're in short, you can't even make it in life. You have 5 children and that's it. No man can even look. You cannot do anything. No one believes in you because il y a beaucoup de femmes qui souvent qui pensent que comme ils ont ça, c'est fini pour eux. Ils n'ont rien à faire encore dans la vie. What do you do? What do you tell them?
Je l'ai dit à l'entame de mon propos, c'est que la femme est née leader. Il faut tout juste qu'elle s'impose. Il y a les fondements dans un foyer. Il ne faut pas accepter que l'homme t'empêche.
Parce que ça commence dans le foyer.
Oui,
It starts from the home.
Ça commence dans le foyer. Moi, je prends les foyers en couple. Bien que nous soyons dans une société patriarcale, mais cela n'exclut pas que la femme peut devenir leader. Vous pouvez vous imposer dans un ménage, ça dépend des fondements. Comme disait la dame tantôt, ce n'est pas l'homme qui vous a mis au monde. Vous êtes venu au monde, vous devez avoir une vision. Chaque femme doit avoir une vision. Vous avez fait des études, peut-être vous êtes comptable quelque part, mais ce n'est pas cette comptabilité, peut-être qu'il y a votre vision. Vous avez quelque chose en vous que vous voulez mettre en exergue, qui peut impacter votre environnement. Ne vous laissez pas influencer. Ne vous laissez pas influencer par vos maris. Ne vous laissez pas influencer par l'environnement.
Mais il y a une manière de faire. On ne dit pas que tu ne peux pas insulter ton mari.
Non, j'y arrive. J'y arrive. Quand je parle des fondements, les bases dans un foyer, ça veut dire qu'il faut être un couple qui dialogue. Dites à votre époux, voilà ce que j'aimerais faire. Tu peux m'accompagner à ce que je suis en train de faire. Si cela ne t'intéresse pas, peut-être tu peux m'aider d'une autre manière, peut-être prendre même un coach, peut-être m'envoyer faire une formation parce que dans ma vision, j'envisage être ingénieur qui va influencer d'autres femmes autour de moi. Je pense que les femmes doivent déjà prendre conscience de leurs capacités. Elles peuvent être des ingénieurs, elles peuvent être des techniciennes, elles peuvent être tout ce qu'elles peuvent être. Il suffit tout juste d'y croire et de foncer, avoir une vision. Tu as dit ça, c'est toujours positif dans la tête. Je pense que c'est ça. Si moi aujourd'hui, je suis en train de conduire une association, c'est parce que j'ai confiance en moi-même et j'ai cette témérité et j'ai la haine de réussir. Il faut avoir la haine, la femme doit avoir la haine de réussir. Quels que soient les obstacles, il faut saisir les opportunités. Parce que pour être leader, il faut savoir saisir les opportunités et dire que ce que je suis en train de faire, je vais y arriver.
Now, let's take the context. Because the team takes us back to context. We're talking about leadership and achieving an equal future in the COVID-19 world. Now, how do you explain that?
What came into my mind first?
Yeah, maybe you can say what came into your mind before we get there.
A woman should be emancipated. Education actually emancipates a woman. And if you look at the population of women out there, not all of them are educated. We should start giving them that courage. Even if you're old, you went to marriage, you should go back to school. Now we can now be talking about leaders. And if you can bring up leaders, because I'm a member of a church group, when I sit in the church group and I hear a woman might speak, I turn and look at that woman. I see a level of intelligence in that woman, but she didn't go to school. So she can't be of help. Now, if we have to build her up, move to such a woman and say, well, why don't you can do something better? No, there are openings like this for women, or that kind of a thing, to build her up. So capacity building comes into play. Now talk about leadership and COVID. COVID has actually helped us a lot. It has made many women to see their potentials, which they never knew they had.
That's very true.
For myself, I'll tell you, my office was in Bonanjo. During COVID, I stayed home for 3 months. We're working from home. Now, with the high rent and everything, I said take my office back to my house.
Correct.
Because I now know paying that rent is too much for me, and I'm not doing any work there. I can do that same work from my house, and I'm using my house now as my office. Now, how many women will do that? We shouldn't deceive ourselves. Sometimes when it's hard, we say it's hard. You get it?
Yes.
You cannot be suffering because you want people to feel that it's all going fine. No, when it's not going fine for the woman, say it's not going fine. And I'll tell any woman, in any difficult situation, sometimes I tell you, marriage is not do or die. Any difficult situation, when you talk about violence against women, look at what happens, what actually causes this violence. Because all this leadership position, if you see a man, ask them some of the time, what brings this problem? Oh, my wife is so rude to me, my wife is this. That is violence against women. It's just to kill the woman's potentials that is coming up. So we should look at some of those potentials and see how we can handle them and handle our relationship. With the COVID again, I think every mama became a leader in the house.
Yes.
Boiling water
Doctor.
for people to cover themselves. We became, all of us were doctors at home. Economy was no more problem. The amount of money we had, we could manage the home.
Yes.
And then our children, we had time to spend with our children and educate our children. Some of us discovered who our children were during the COVID period, which were not at home because we're actually running from left and right.
All right, now I want us to watch this report on growing violence against women in Cameroon. It's a report by Beatrice Angamo. She is a reporter based in Yaoundé. Let's watch. We'll be right back.
Societal inequality for women in Cameroon is perpetuated by the current growing crisis, resulting in a worrisome increase of violence against women, which has taken brutal forms: battering, rape, trafficking, exploitation as sex workers, torture, ill treatment, and threats, among many. This goes from physical, psychological to emotional torments. And women and girls aged between 12 to 45, the victims. Though there are many in number, over 55% of the population, they still acknowledge that does not make them strong. They are still the weaker sex and victims to all sorts of violence.
Sadly, it has skyrocketed, compounded with the COVID-19 pandemic, with the lockdowns. I think couples were brought to discover themselves more than they ever did before, and that skyrocketed the rate of violence. Again, with the ongoing crisis that are affecting the country, women are disproportionately, at an alarming rate, affected negatively by all what is going on.
Like, for example, the still men who beat their wife. In quarters, you usually witness it. Men who are still very brutal, they don't treat wife normally.
The crisis in the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon has given it a different cap.
Yes, because of what the challenges that families are facing now, it is really very common. I feel that it is very, very common because when there is crisis, eventually things will not move on well. So there's violence. It is very common.
If you listen to news every day, you get a rape case announced. It did not obtain like that before, and I'm afraid these numbers will keep escalating because nothing is done. I take for the crisis in the two English-speaking regions, we have our girls who've been transformed into official sex workers, professional sex workers, for nothing they did, nothing they asked for. This because they want to, for means of subsistence, they have to reduce themselves to that.
Families like victims even makes things worse. They are good at pretending and hiding the truth, and so keep watering the act of violence against women.
The issue is most women who are victims don't come out to denounce it. That is a problem.
A solution.
Ladies, we need to come out, sit in halls and hold a red card to say stop to all forms of violence against women. In Cameroon, we have just too many: institutional, political. The laws do not favor even women, being shareholders in their father's property, land tenure. Women have to stand up, come up, and speak for themselves. That parade is just for a few hours and it's over. And after that, what? You sit and wait for the next year?
We need to impose our place, and also in our various homes, we need to know that a man is the head of the family. While knowing that and giving him all his respect, I think everything will be all right, because giving him his respect, no matter what, he will humbly talk to you, and I think violence can be reduced, because there are a lot of men who speak arrogantly to their husband, who push them to violence.
As a youth and action counselor, I want to believe we can use educative talks, we can sensitize families, husbands, those who practice this violence. I believe that we can sensitize them. We can carry out educative talks, campaigns to sensitize people on the disadvantages and dangers of violence.
Violence against women is still a preoccupying reality here in Cameroon. Despite the efforts by the different groups, civil society organizations, non-governmental organizations, the government, traditional and religious leaders. High time the women themselves figure out solution to their favor, as their lives and those of their daughters count, and should not be instruments of violence of any kind, gender, family, or societal.
Now we stay on the theme, which is women in leadership, achieving an equal future in the COVID-19 world. Now, Doctor, I want to begin with you. Now, how do you think during this period of COVID, women could grab more leadership positions?
Women could grab
more leadership positions. So we're talking about leadership here, and we're talking of COVID.
Yes, yes. We've all said it on this panel that leadership starts at home. And during this COVID time, most of us were bound to our houses. There was no way to go out. And during this time, the mothers got to discover more of their children. The husbands got to discover more, their wives, the part of their wives that they didn't know. The wives got to discover the husband. So there was a lot. There's a lot that happened during that time.
An equal future during this COVID.
Yes, and I think those couples who are wise enough, I think this period has given them time to sit down and really dialogue and put things right. So I think it's going to give more equality. I, for one, for example, I've had enough time to talk with my husband, and we've got to understand so many things. And it has happened like that in most houses. You know, if it doesn't happen, because you remember during this time, if you look at reports and everything, the violence rate has instead increased. And you start understanding that there are some people who probably, these men, some of them are used to leaving work, go to drink first before going back home. They find themselves going back home or just staying at home 24 hours, looking at the same faces every day. Next time, there's a lot of violence. And after that violent time in 2020, I think they've had enough time to sit down and really talk about this thing. If this marriage needs to work, what role do you have to play? What role do you have to play? We finally understand that we are there to help each other. Women are helpers to the husbands. We are not competing with them. We are not competing. The Bible says submit to your husband. But it didn't say submit to men. It says submit to your husband. It's your husband, right? So you have an obligation to be submissive to that man, and then together you could come out with, like a board, blank board of how are we going to manage this family. Equality comes in there. Because gone are those days where the man wants to take over everything.
Even at their job site, not only at the level of the family, because we start from there, we take it right up to
the job site.
Right up to the job site. Now, how do you maintain that equality, Queen?
At the level of the job site, that one.
You're talking about leadership, achieving an equal future in COVID. How do you achieve that equality?
At the job site.
At the job site.
Au niveau du travail, je pense que la venue du Covid a été un moment très très difficile, parce que partager le travail et la Covid, ça n'a pas été une chose facile. Je prends personnellement mon cas dans mon entreprise. Nous avons planifié un travail qui allait s'effectuer à la maison, c'est-à-dire nous travaillons en télétravail. Ce n'était pas facile, mais bon, on n'y peut rien, on essaye de faire avec. Bon, moi, je voudrais par exemple revenir sur le rôle de la femme C'est-à-dire pendant cette période, de
parce
Covid.
Que le COVID est encore
Oui,
là,
parce que la Covid est encore là. Je pense que la femme a joué un rôle prépondérant et elle continue à jouer le rôle prépondérant pendant cette période. À la maison, c'est elle qui a pris la main parce qu'elle prépare certains médicaments traditionnels pour que les femmes, pour que les enfants soient à l'abri de la maladie, comme on dit dans les produits de grand-mère que la femme essaye de préparer. Et ça a aussi permis aux gens d'avoir un moment de cohabitation. Parce que la majorité des couples ne se connaissaient vraiment pas, parce que chacun sort le matin, il va travailler, ils ne se connaissent pas. C'est un moment où les uns et les autres apprennent à se connaître. C'est un moment où on apprend aussi à connaître nos enfants, parce que nous sommes souvent partis, on ne connaît vraiment pas qui sont nos enfants, ce sont des ménagères qui s'en occupaient. Mais aujourd'hui, la Covid, certes, elle tue, mais elle a aussi aidé les familles à se renforcer, c'est-à-dire davantage, et elle a aussi permis à la femme de comprendre qu'elle a un rôle prépondérant au sein de la famille. La Covid a permis à la femme d'éduquer son enfant, parce qu'avant, on n'arrivait pas à éduquer nos enfants. C'est-à-dire, proportionnellement, on passait le temps à aller au bureau et tout. Je pense que économiquement, la Covid tue, mais en ce qui concerne le socle social, ça a aidé, c'est-à-dire les familles à se renforcer et c'est-à-dire à s'unir davantage. Moi, je pense que c'est ce que je peux dire.
Yes, Barrister.
I was just thinking of something. During this COVID time, everybody was at home. What were the men doing? Because the women know the kitchen is at the parliament. So what were the men actually doing at home this time around? That's why I was laughing.
On dialogue
doing gardening.
Or were they also cooking and washing plates or laundry? What were the men doing for equality to flow?
All right, Cecilia.
Yes, truly, in the home, a traditional home, we talk about roles. Everybody has his role that he plays. The men, during this COVID period, they were able to play their role as leaders in the home, as educators, because they had the opportunity to educate their children. That is the role of a man. It's not of a woman. But the fact that COVID brought all men together in their homes, they helped the women. They helped the women by taking what they have abandoned.
Okay, equality came in.
Of course. So this is the positive part of COVID, because it has helped the men to discover the potentials of their children. They were able to know who
their wives,
and their wives. So I believe that COVID, they say every silver cloud.
Okay, ça aussi augmenté les maternités.
Oui. And secondly, COVID has helped us to know, to bring out potentials in women too, because there are women who are shy, and there are some who had abandoned their role as women, housewives, to maids,
workers.
Yes, to workers.
Now, how do you maintain that leadership skill? Because we are still within the context of COVID. Barrister, how do you? Any of you can answer?
Yeah,
and then you get to
I was getting to that, because taking back your role, automatically they say the woman is the heart of the house. She's the incubator. She's the one formalizing everything. The man gives, but she transforms. So she, as a leader, she gives. Educate, give what? Yeah, of course. Give what she's supposed to give even to the children. And doctor said something very pertinent. We are the sacrificial lambs. We are building a foundation for tomorrow as women. So for us to see something better, for us to see leaders of tomorrow, we need to raise our female children well, build their self-esteem, educate them. Because our most of our mothers are illiterate.
All right, our last words to women. We are running out of time. Barrister, just in few words, your last words to women. Sure, be looking at the camera. You're talking
I just
to women.
pray that by the time we'll be celebrating 2025, most of our women, which is actually the majority of population in Cameroon, will be emancipated and they can be good leaders.
Okay, Cecilia, look at the camera. Your last words to women in just few words.
I pray the gap, literacy gap, because we are fighting gender parity. That's the main activity of the women and empowerment. So if that literacy gap is reduced, there will be more women in politics, more women as doctors, in all the fields.
Queen, your last words to women. They look at the camera and talk to
Pour la 25e Fête internationale de la femme, j'aimerais voir la première dame camerounaise parler aux femmes camerounaises comme un leader. Je pense qu'on attend d'elle beaucoup de choses pour qu'elle puisse parler aux femmes pendant la période de Covid. Qu'est-ce qu'elle peut donner aux femmes qui sont dans les brousses, qui n'arrivent pas à se prendre en charge? Qu'est-ce qu'elle peut faire pour cette femme?
All right, Dr. Talbot, in few words.
Yeah, I just want to wish all of them Happy Women's Day, and I want to let you women know that you are the best. You are intelligent, you are beautiful, you are the apple of God's eyes. You know, you can achieve anything. Yes, you can, and together we'll get there.
All right, Happy Women's Day to you all.
Happy Women's Day.
And to you out there, we say
Happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day.
Happy Women's Day. Happy Women's Day. Love you,